Before attending the meeting of EU foreign ministers in Brussels on the Ukraine war, British Foreign Secretary Liz Truss stressed the need for her country to work closely with the EU. It is crucial that Britain and our allies maintain a strong and united front against Russian aggression and speak with one voice, Truss said, according to a statement distributed ahead of her trip on Friday. In Brussels, the Conservative Britain also want to hold talks in the group of G7 foreign ministers and in the NATO group. Since Brexit, members of the British government have often distanced themselves from the EU in their public statements and emphasized the status of Great Britain as a separate, independent country. There is also a dispute between London and Brussels over Brexit rules for Northern Ireland. Since the outbreak of the war in Ukraine, however, the tone in London has changed and there is a greater emphasis on solidarity with Western allies. Truss is the first British minister to be invited to a foreign ministers' meeting since Britain left the EU, the statement said. British Justice Secretary Dominic Raab has now warned Russian President Vladimir Putin and his military leaders about the legal consequences of war crimes in Ukraine. They need to know that there is real chance that they will face the dock of a court in The Hague and a prison cell, Raab told the Telegraph newspaper on Thursday. Britain will support the International Criminal Court in collecting evidence and tracking down suspected war criminals, Raab said. British Prime Minister Boris Johnson accused Putin of war crimes in Ukraine on Wednesday. Secretary of State Liz Truss said her country had joined forces with allies in reporting war crimes allegations. The International Criminal Court in The Hague has already announced that it will investigate possible war crimes in Ukraine, and I talked about this in length on my noon video. And Britain said on Thursday that legal threats would not prevent it sanctioning Russian oligarchs, adding that London had a further list of businessmen who could be designated after Russia invaded Ukraine. Legal threats will have no impact on our ability to sanction oligarchs, Foreign Secretary Liz Truss told Reuters while on a visit to Lithuania. There's nowhere for any of Putin's cronies to hide, she said. We are absolutely determined to sanction Russian oligarchs. We have a further list we are working through, she said. We have put in place the toughest package of sanctions in the British history, including bank freezes on central bank and export controls, and we will do more, she said. Truss said a group of 7 meetings of finance ministers on Friday discussed further sanctions on Russia. Russia's foreign ministry said on Thursday, without providing evidence, that the British Broadcasting Corporation BBC, by the way, was being used to undermine the internal political situation and security in Russia. Moscow has said foreign media, including from Britain, offer a partial view of the world. Some Western governments dismiss that assertion and accuse Russian state media of bias, including over Russia's invasion of Ukraine. And just saying, in this war, I'm absolutely biased on the side of Ukraine. The European Union banned Russian state-controlled media outlets RT and Sputnik with immediate effect on Wednesday for what it branded as systematic disinformation over Russia's invasion of Ukraine. The sanction means EU operators will be prohibited from broadcasting, facilitating, or otherwise contributing to the dissemination of any RT and Sputnik content. Britain's media regulator was also considering whether RT should retain its license in the country, as it conducts 15 investigations into the broadcaster's impartiality and a further 12 into its programming. The fact that Russian journalists are still at least somehow able to work there in Britain is associated solely with London's fears of jeopardizing the position of BBC Radio and Television Corporation in Russia, since it's far from being assigned the last role in undermining domestic political stability and security in our country, Russian Foreign Ministry spokeswoman Maria Zakharova told a briefing in Moscow. The BBC declined to comment on the matter. Asked about Zakharova's remarks, a spokesman for the British Prime Minister Boris Johnson said the BBC operated independently of the government. It is important that the BBC and other media organizations are editorially independent and they are free to report the news in the way they do, he said. And once again, just to talk about this. As I said, I'm in this case completely biased towards the Ukraine because there is an illegal war being started by a dictator in Russia against a democratic, independent and sovereign country. Living here, you can never act differently. And on the other side, the Russian side is spreading propaganda like hell via their channels. As you might have seen in many of my videos, if there is information from the Ukraine that can't be verified by Western media, I will say this. So I will not state this as fact when Western media couldn't verify the information from Ukraine, because those are two parties in a war. And you always have to be very careful with information from either party. But still, the Russian side is using tons of propaganda via these channels, and I'm glad that YouTube and others already acted. And I will keep reporting what I can get in quite verified facts here from afar in Germany. And I'll see you in my next video. Bis gleich.